Thank you for joining the Syndicate Network and your host, Skywalker the Jedi. Skywalker the Jedi.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? It is your boy Skywalker the Jedi back at y'all with another one. We are live, dual streaming once again. And every time that we doing that, I be sitting there thinking, I'm like, bro, we really need like a dual intro. But it's the homie Austin's already on that. What's going on, Leon? How you feeling today, Brody?
Man, I'm feeling good, bro. You know what I mean? We here, ready to bash a steak and all the bloodsuckers. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, bruh, I'm so hyped to have a discussion about this movie. Much love to the homie. We appreciate you being here, bro.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. This movie was incredible. We'll get into all the details. I guess I spoiled my reaction because I just can't help but feel nothing but joy about this film. You know what I mean? But I can't wait to dive into the details. You know?
Yep, bro. Yep. Yeah, man. I'm so excited, bro. You're so excited to be here discussing this movie, man. I've seen it twice now, and can't wait to discuss it. We got some VIPs in the chat, though. Let me say what's up. We got the homie The Good Austin. What's going on, dog? We got Dennis,
the Syndicate Network,
the producer. I mean, he was in there rocking out this morning on Cartoons and Cereal, bro. We finally finished Devil May Cry. That was an amazing first season.
I rocked with it, man. Yeah. What's my man's name? I always butcher his name that made the tune.
Adi Shankar.
Yes, man. Yeah. Hey, make that Kenny Omega anime, bro. You got to do it.
What's going on? We got Dennis Medina in the building. What's going on, Dennis Medina? Yeah, he said he just got back watching The Accountant too. Yeah, I'm seeing that tomorrow. So hopefully I can see that tomorrow. I'm trying to sneak in Star Wars tonight. You know what I mean? After the stream, I ain't even gonna front. Word. We got Revenge of the Sith in the building. Come on, man. Anyway,
I feel you.
Right?
I told you all my story, right? That our ship was among the first ships, or just first in audience to get that movie. They gave it to our ship. So yeah, we saw it on the flight deck.
Yeah,
the joint was fire.
Yeah, when you're in the military, you be getting perks like that. You know what I mean? What's going on? What's going on? Sin Havoc 5150 got him in the building. What's going on? Bat Dan, W Necron. We got the whole cool table in here, dog.
Hey, it's official cool table stream, whether y'all like it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. We got Chris Brown in the building saying he didn't seen it 4 times, dog. Yes. What's going on, Chris Brown?
Oh, Sinners? Oh, that's what's up, man.
Bro.
Shout out to the passionate Sinner watchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, man, I don't blame anybody for seeing this shit 4 times. We got W Mir with the $5 super chat saying, "Hey guys, step aside and let me on in now."
Hey, shout out to W Mir.
Let me on in now, right? Hey,
shout out to W Mir for that. That's what's up.
What a scene, bro. Yeah,
bro.
We gonna get to it.
Yeah, man.
Let me go ahead and give this drop, bro.
Good evening. We, the unwilling, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing.
Bad Dan says, all my comic books and most of my collectibles have been moved to my condo. That's what's up, bro. Shout out to Bad Dan. We'll be here buying condos around here, y'all. You know what I mean? Light work,
bro.
Light work, bro. Light work.
You feel me?
Some real light. Hey, hold the chat down, bro. Hold on. My damn dog, man.
Hey, shout out to Harley. Where we at? Where we at in the chat? Let me go ahead and go through. We got. I'm gonna just call out the names we already called out. We got the good Austin.
Harley.
We got
No.
Dennis Medina. We got
No.
Sin Havoc. We got Bat Dan. You know what I'm saying? We got W Necron, Chris Brown, Rebel Moon Theory in the building. Hey, shout out to Rebel Moon Theory. Rebel Moon Theory has been holding it down for Zachary Edwards Snyder and Rebel Moon. Shout out to you, man. You've been putting in mad work, and it cannot be understated. You know what I'm saying? And for those that don't know, that is ran by the Curly Ray. You know what I'm saying? A value member of the community and a value member of the syndicate. You know what I'm saying? We got what else we got? What else we got? Shout out to all y'all for pulling up. Thank you again, W Mir, for the super chat. What else we got? Oh, we got another super chat from the producer, the man himself of the Syndicate Network, the good Austin. We got 3 intros and a viral sensation walked into a bar. Never mind my studio. I need that hyperbolic time chamber from DBZ for real, for real. Hopefully this covers my overtime. I nabbed the music for y'all's intro already. Y'all gonna dig it. Hashtag the cool table. Thank you, Austin, man. It can't go unsaid a million times. You know, like you the producer, man. You the man. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and look for you a drop that's gonna be adequate. You know what I mean?
Real quick, I want to ask you not about the legalities or like the probabilities or anything like that, but can you just speak to the resolve of your fan base that now that we're trying to get this thing sold to a third party?
The fan base has consistently been amazing and consistently, look, regardless of what I think, the fan base has their own ideas and they seem to win.
Yeah, shout out to you, Austin. Appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? We got the great Skywalker back. You good, bro? Hold on, let me it's your mic here. I had to mute it here. Yeah,
Bro.
yes, sir.
Bro. I looked. Harley had something hanging out her mouth. It looked like she was drooling, dog, like the vampires was, bro.
Oh shit.
It was crazy.
Hey, what was the line homeboy said? He said, "Baby, you drooling." She said, "You want some?" I was like, "Ew," but it's Haley Steinfeld.
Crazy, bro. Crazy. Anyway, man, look, we are
She good though?
Yeah, no. I mean, it was like she had something she wasn't supposed to have in her mouth. She went around getting in the trash. You know what I mean?
Got you. She got that signed edition of ZSJL in her mouth, bro.
Crazy, bro. Right? Bugging. Right? Yeah. Let's get through this like little opening stuff so we can get started with the show.
Absolutely.
Make sure you guys are hitting the like, share, and subscribe on both platforms, please. We've been putting on a lot of work, and we've been enjoying doing these dual streams for you guys, and just bringing some awareness to both platforms. So y'all make sure y'all show both some love. You dig? Sales ESJL to Netflix, hashtag Sales Snyderverse to Netflix. Y'all already know what the mission is. Trying to get that into Zack Snyder's DC arc over on that Netflix platform, right? Be positive. Don't mix the hashtags. And last but certainly not least, don't mention anybody over at WBD or none of that stuff. ZSJL to Netflix on X and YouTube. Follow those platforms as well as myself and Apex Leon. if you want to sponsor a stream, when you give super chats, they're tallied up, and whoever donates the most will have their name scrolling across the bottom. Right? I forgot who's sponsoring this one, but much love. We about to find out in 1 second. Yo, how you feeling about this movie, bro? I'm very excited to be here talking about this film, bro. How you feeling fresh off your first viewing, and what's been on your mind, bro?
Bro, I am, man, I'm still like a buzz about it, bro. Like, I gotta see it again as soon as possible, but I want to go. I've been very particular about like who I go with next. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've only seen it once, and luckily, who I went with was dope. And I'm like, all right, if I go again, like, I don't mind going to the theater by myself. I go dolo. I'll leave somebody behind all the time, bro. I go dolo all the time. But bringing like a date or whatever, like, it is a cool experience to see their reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like to bask in it too, and to get their perspective. So I don't know, that was a thrilling thing for me too. When me and you had a conversation, you were talking about how it was one of your favorite theater experiences, and I was like, okay, this is before I saw it. I must say, man, I get it. It's like, it's one of my favorite theater experiences. Like, I haven't been so enthralled with a movie of this kind in a while, and it's for a bunch of different reasons. We can get into it like later, as we continue conversing. But it's so many different layers of why, man. You know.
Yeah, man. And when it comes to cinematic experiences or what have you, we have a whole section for that part of the conversation. But I just want to start with this. I had both extremes seeing this movie. I saw it in IMAX 70 millimeter. You know what I mean? So like the Big Daddy, like, yo, big huge screen,
Word.
everything filled out. It was crazy. And then I also saw it last night in 70 millimeter, which is like the rarest form that you can find, like the literal, still using old school film reels, right?
Right.
Where you can see them switching over with the little cigarette marks in the Johns. You know what I'm saying? Where all of a sudden
That's crazy.
right? All that was there. I mean, bro, it was
Which one do you
both
prefer?
extremes. I'll get to that when we're talking about that part of the conversation.
Word.
Yeah, because bro, they're both very different, but both amazing in their own right. I want to kind of start with how good is this movie, bro? We see what it's doing at the box office, but first I want to kind of talk about what your thoughts on this film are, and like how good is it, and what makes this film so special.
Well, it's so for me, man, like, I don't know, because I know for a lot of people, like, they need something to be unpredictable or like completely new or what have you in order to enjoy something. For me, it just has to be quality. It has to, acting, writing. It has to take itself seriously, while at the same time, like, it has to know itself. Nothing about this movie felt self-aware, if that makes sense. The ironic films that have come out lately, where it feels like a Marvel movie, or it's trying to be Marvel like, or like, none of that felt like that, right? The thing that I loved about it was it really, you know what I mean? It did not shy away from Southern culture. It didn't shy away from Black culture. It did not shy away from, the things that create the style that it is presenting, like the Memphis music culture, right? Everything about it was it even showed
Mississippi.
the Mississippi. It even showed the connection of blues to
Tough, bro. That was a tough scene,
It
bro.
might have been my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Bro, tough.
Very surreal, and like it felt like quote unquote magical.
Wait a minute, bro. Can you believe that on the soundtrack that is kind of quoted as surreal montage?
I didn't know that. That's funny.
That part.
That's funny,
bro. So absolutely, that's what he was going for, bro. So that's actually the perfect word to describe that.
It's fascinating to me. Like I watched that scene and I'm just like, what a very incredibly clever way to illustrate what that form of music meant to all music in Americana, right? Like there's no denying that music helped to, it evolved everything, it pushed music forward, right? It's the DNA of all music stems from this as far as Americana, right? And to be more specific, the DNA was blended together and created and orchestrated by Black hands, right? Black voices and Black culture. So I love that the movie highlighted that in such a way that was very artistic, very cinematic, and very much almost anti-woke. I didn't feel like anybody who's a weirdo who just kind of has trepidation when they're going
even though it has a diverse cast, right?
Correct. Anybody that kind of walks into these movies nowadays post 2020, I feel like that's kind of the time frame where people kind of started looking at cinema weird and everything's woke or anti-woke, right? Shout out to Abu Naz. What up, man? So it's like when I see this, I'm like, if you're someone who just loves cinema, you should enjoy this and you should enjoy the many themes that this film is presenting, because it's not trying to beat you over the head. It's just in its own world and in its own universe, and it's presenting a sort of a surreal, fantastical, in a sense, science fiction too, almost peek into the real world in its own way, like historically, right? I just thought it was very fascinating and beautiful, man. I kind of fell in love with this movie. It's just gorgeous.
Man. Yeah, this is a beautiful movie. That is absolutely the way to describe it. It has a little bit of everything. It has heart in it. It has drama. It has love. It has family dynamics going on. It's a horror movie. It's a religious movie. Like it's everything, bro. Like it's a little bit of everything in there, and it's also very, very layered, like you were saying. It has a tremendous score. Ryan Coogler even himself at one point said that the movie almost plays like a concert, and he's absolutely right. And it's a rocking ass concert at that, right? So
Definitely.
this is a very, very special movie. It is a very, very cinematic movie, as coming from somebody who saw it in both extremes. Right? Like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from nobody. You know what I mean? Like from nobody. I didn't see this shit on the biggest of the biggest and the most retro of the retro. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, yeah, yeah, and with your anti-woke thing, like you were saying, it's almost like, hey, if you're gonna do diverse cast, and it's very much like a Zach film in that, right, where it's a very diverse cast, but the movie's not beating you over the head with any of that messaging, right? And especially when I saw the film in IMAX, I saw a lot of Zack Snyder influences in there, as well as some other filmmakers, man. But it's still
absolutely like a Tarantino.
Yep, sure. It still stands on its own and is a very, very special film. But I did want to highlight that this is like I don't know. this film almost it feels like a pivot point in Hollywood, almost like Get Out was. It's very similar in that manner. Not that it's copying the same themes or whatever. It's just that this was, I mean, Get Out was a cultural moment where it felt like something came along and redefined like the horror slash or like the psychological horror kind of film genre, and it seems to have happened again, but this time with the vampire flick and Ryan Coogler, because this almost sets a new standard for vampire films just in general, bro. Honestly, like they got to be fantastic from here on out.
Yeah, in a way, it felt like a return to form because we've had vampire movies come out since Twilight, and they've been dope. Recently, one was what was it, Nosferatu, and people seem to enjoy that. I haven't seen it yet, but this is like, here's the thing.
I saw it.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I don't think people may or may not want to admit, but like, you know, look, when you get an auteur who isn't your, you know, most common form of an auteur, which is like, you know, the more fair-skinned American, as far as Americans go and directors go. Obviously, there's more. There's your Nolans, your European looking descent, right? I'm not really trying to make it a thing. I'm just saying, like, when you get like a Ryan Coogler who's flexing his auteur muscles, it just hits a little different. It just kind of does. And there's a different type of cultural.
Harley, get out the kitchen.
There's a different type of cultural, and
hey, give me that.
There's a different perspective that you see when you're dealing with a guy like Ryan Coogler, man. Like, I don't know. It's almost, I can't even really put it into words. It's just something that you feel, man. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you know, and my bad, Sky. I just muted it just real quick, just in case you didn't notice. But yeah, I don't know, man. If I could describe the feeling, man, the feeling just felt just raw, and it felt like something I can connect with. And I'm not the type of person that needs to see like quote unquote people that look like me, but there was a connection that I felt, you know what I mean, where cultural aspects of, you know, my life, like me being a Southerner myself and seeing this stuff on screen was pretty incredible. The only other thing that I wanted to add to, maybe not the only thing, but the only thing I'll add thus far to this is that I quite enjoyed Haley Steinfeld in this film. In many different,
I had the wrong mic hooked up.
Say again.
I had the wrong mic hooked up. That's what happened. I had it coming through my computer microphone instead of my mic. So when I was muting my mic, it wasn't muting anything.
Oh, gotcha.
That is hilarious, bro. That is hilarious.
Gotcha.
She was she is getting into stuff right now, bro. This is crazy. But I'm back. I had to put her up.
Gotcha. No worries. Crazy. But yeah, I was just about to get into the fact that I love me some Haley Steinfeld in this film, man. And the other thing that I think this movie wasn't afraid to be is very sexy. And my God, was Haley Steinfeld sexy in this damn movie. Like the line she was spitting, I was like, Lord have mercy. Made her brother hot under the collar.
Yeah, man. Nah, she did a great job, man. She did a great job. She's very beautiful, very sexy in this movie. And I don't blame anybody for anything that happened in the movie pertaining to her. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Sure. Dr. Umar just got to understand, you know?
Right. Man, crazy, bro. He said, I know her husband is stressed right now. Crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, he said Ryan Coogler doing the X-Files reboot. Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm a huge X-Files fan, so I've been keeping track of that. I know there was some hesitation to show support, but like it's Ryan Coogler, and he's a huge fan too. Like he's a huge X-Files fan, so he's not gonna let anybody down.
Right. Yeah. This is a fantastic movie, man. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about I believe is Miles Catton or Miles Catone, who made his acting debut as Sammy in this film. I think he did a great job, man. He had a great voice, and he came across as very believable in these scenes, even though he was in there with some acting giants, because Michael B. Jordan was absolutely fantastic as the Smokestack Twins, and I'll ask you about his performance in 1 second. But can we start with what you thought of Sammy?
Well, the young man did his thing, man. Speaking of Shameik Moore.
Oh yeah, one more thing, because he's really like the protagonist of the movie.
Oh, 100%.
If you stay through till the post-credit scenes are done, it really kind of drives it home, like who the protagonist of this film really is. So
yeah, hopefully you did, because there was a couple of post-credit scenes to stick around for. But yeah, he was great. He was fantastic. You know, he just W. Muir just jokingly talked about Shameik Moore being stressed out about Haley Steinfeld. You know, it's interesting. He kind of reminded me of Shameik Moore because when Shameik Moore came on the scene, he was kind of like this out of nowhere kid who can act his ass off. This guy here is talented. He can sing. He can play play instruments, play the guitar. You know, he's got a presence about him, and I love how he switched from being the timid, you know, preacher kid to the adventurous, scrappy dude who, you know, came of age. I'll just say that during the film, and then some. So he did a fantastic job. I can't wait to see what he does next.
yeah, man, I really hope to see him in more stuff, yo. I think he did a great job. Especially when you think about who he was acting next to, because man, look, bro, Michael B. Jordan as the Smokestack Twins, bro. My second time seeing this movie, it really drives it home, like how different these two characters actually are, and it's pretty easy to tell who is who throughout the entire film. Smoke is the much more reserved one who is a bit more methodical. Stack is willing to be a little bit more risky. I'll just say, right. And yo, man, Michael B. Jordan, I mean, if his performances as these twins don't work, I don't think that this film works, bro. So what do you think about him in particular playing the Smokestack Twins is the way that he did?
I think it was incredible, man. Like, I know Michael B. Jordan used to get criticized for being overrated as an actor and relying on his looks and his you know, physique to get him through films as he started to get older and you know, become kind of like an action type of guy. But nah, this was incredible. And I think this film in particular sheds a lot of that criticism away, because the man played two different dudes that were twins with two completely different personalities, right? The only thing they had in common personality wise is their passion for, you know, adventure in different ways, making money, and the fact that they don't take nobody's shit. But other than that, it's like Sky said, Smoke was 100% the more toned down, stoic figure, and Stack was the more animated. He'll rile people up on purpose, for his gains, and likely those gains will benefit you as well. He'll piss you off to get you a bag. These are interesting characters, very fun characters. It was a great time at the movies with these characters, man. Like Stack was that dude. I don't know, just what they both play characters that in real life you want to know, right? And you don't want to get on their bad side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody knew about the Smokestack twins, bro.
100%.
Everybody knew about the Smokestack twins, bro. Yeah,
their name rung bells. Shout out to Nessa. How you doing?
Across the city, right? What's going on, Nessa? Hope you had a wonderful evening. Yeah, man. Bro, this movie all around, bro. Like seeing it twice, I also noticed just how much just everybody has their moments, bro. Not only did Michael B. Jordan hold it down, but my man Delroy Lindo, bro.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh my goodness, dude. This man right here, bro.
He's never turned in a bad performance, by the way.
Bro, never. But man, this was look, hold on, bro. Look, let me show you something, bro. Bruh. Hold on. Delroy Lindo, bro, plays like that drunk uncle from the South, so well, bro.
You hit it right there, bro. I had drunk uncle in my head.
Look, when that part came up, and I'll just say this: when that part came up, where they was like trying to see what was up, and it was like, all right, we all gonna do this,
yeah.
And then he was like, bro, I was, but that's so drunk uncle shit.
I'm not gonna say it, but they in the mouth, the mouth.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Bro, that joke was hilarious.
He's like, tighten up, like, bruh.
That junk was hilarious,
dog.
You know what's interesting about that scene? I'm not gonna give any details away, but it was just the tension was crazy because like you want to laugh, but at the same time you're like, this could get very bad. This could be very bad. You never know. Because they're trying to figure something out. And then it's like, all right, I can laugh now because that was freaking hilarious.
Bro, when Bruh, I've seen that move, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
I've seen that move from a let me tighten up. You know what I mean? Like lock it up, bro.
And that's the thing about this movie. Like, okay, I'm not trying to make it a thing, and I'm not gonna go in all deep into it, but I'll just say this: if you know, you know. And I'm talking to us out there, and I'll just leave it at that. Some of this shit was just us, man, and it might fly over people's heads. Sorry. And when I mean us, I mean if you from the South, if you from the West Coast, LA, if you from even New York, if you from up north, some of this shit was just us, man. And it's just gonna hit different to us.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? Like we see some shit. It's the same thing when we see things get memed that is just like, like let's say a Tarantino movie and they do something in a Tarantino movie that is like something that certain cultures would do. Universally, people will laugh or whatever, but like it'll hit different if it's like, oh my God, I saw Bob doing that. I had Uncle Bob or George do that. I'll just, you know what I mean when I say that. For us, we see something like that. It's little tweaks and details and mannerisms and ways that things are said in which we're gonna just kind of perk up a bit more. Like, I get that,
Yeah, bro.
So that's why I'm stepping up for this movie big time, bro. Because I saw a lot of us in this, man. Like for the culture that is. You feel me?
W Mir, I just checked it, bro. I'm about to go ahead and I'm about to share this one, but give me 1 second, bro. I got you. Let me go ahead and
Oh, real quick, Nessa know what's
drop
up.
for you.
She said exactly, Leon. But go ahead, my fault.
Oh no, all good. Just let me. I was actually trying to find a drop. Never mind.
You see this all the time at the level of a top producer who, between them or separately, will make flop after flop after flop after flop. I'm not going to name them, but I know who they are. And they're not all American either. And they still get paid huge sums of money for being in films that nobody wants to see. And producers make pictures out of which they take enormous sums of money. And the films, again, are not films people want to see. They're always going to blame somebody else. Always. Not their fault. No, you were the one who said, or whatever. And there's a word for that. It's called upward failure. You see it all the time.
Yeah, man. I think that's kind of funny. Seeing as how we're talking about sinners and box office success,
right? Facts. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. He said, if Lindo don't get a supporting Oscar, the whole thing is rigged. Hey, Lindo killed it, man. He killed it, bro. I was really like, he was probably the funniest character in the whole movie. To me, hilarious.
Oh yeah, man.
Delta Slim, dog. Right?
Yeah, he was dope, literally from jump.
Yeah, from jump.
From
the first scene.
From the first scene, bro. Sitting there, everything he said was like, it felt real. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd have thought that they plucked a dude from the South who likes to drink.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just made, say, hey man, we'll pay you alcohol to be in this movie. Just be yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? For real.
Nah, man. This is definitely one of them ones, yo. Man, who else from the cast, yo? Hold on one second. What is her name? Because I wanted to get it right. I don't wanna but Lee Jun Lee, who played Grace, the Asian chick, bro. The one that was running the store, which I also thought was funny, right? Like when you see it in the theater, it's like this black neighborhood, and then it's this Asian family that runs the store. I thought it was hilarious, bro. I was like, yo, but yeah. My girl on the right who had that moment right before this scene, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna spoil nothing, but yo, that was crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that was a dope.
Me and you had the same reaction too.
Yeah,
we had the
bro.
Same reaction.
I got
too.
mad, but then I was like, well, hey, fuck it, you know?
Right. We here now. Like, this is where we at. Hey, similar to, you know what I'm saying? Smoke.
Right. Yeah.
Smoke had the same reaction too.
Right.
Man. Anger, and then hey, let's lock in, you know.
Look, fantastic movie though, man. Great movie. I really did enjoy it quite a bit, man. The last 10 out of 10 that I've given in quite some time. And I stand on that. After seeing it twice, I still give it a 10 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this fucking movie, like from start to finish. I ain't saying y'all gotta rate it that. That's my personal rating. You dig? I super enjoyed this movie. But I need to talk about the box office, dog. Because Leon, not only did this have a huge global opening, right, for an original film, but also they're saying that this thing could possibly have less than a 10% drop second weekend, bro. Maybe even making more. they literally, like, I literally just read something that said that it may even make more the second weekend than it did the first, but it could potentially be a less than 10% drop, which would be the lowest drop in the modern era, if I'm not mistaken.
That's freaking insane. That is freaking insane.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. Like, once again, I keep telling people, it's when you make something that is palatable to all audiences within its genre. I'm not saying you can take your kids to this. I'm just saying within its genre, something's palatable to the fans of horror, to the
This
fans
is a very hard R.
Yeah, to the fans of R films, vampire flicks, horror films, right? Supernatural films, right? This audience has expectations, right? He made a movie that meets those expectations, number one. Number two, he also made a movie that attracts a certain culture and crowd by American standards. And I mean us, right? This is why, like, when Get Out came out, it was lauded by a lot of us because not just because, oh, it's a black horror movie. No, it's because it called out a lot of things in horror that were goofy and they played with it. This movie did the same thing. And when you get a movie that does not spit in the face of our common sense and what we would do and wouldn't do, right? We all know the stereotypical jokes. If we hear noise in the woods, we're not going towards the noise. We're going the other way, right? That's just to be funny, right? There's things in this movie that are kind of like that, where there's moments where it's just like, yeah, we're not doing that. And when you make a movie that pleases a lot of the American crowd, you're gonna get these results, period. Right? Like, I don't know what else to tell people. And really, it is a cultural thing. I'm sorry. Like, I know people want to dance around that, but it is. Like, Sinners is not ashamed of that, and neither am I. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is crazy to see, bro. If this is able to hold and it drops less than 10%, I mean, we're gonna get to what the discourse has been about this movie a little later, because I think that that's very, very interesting, right? But I find it amazing, bro, that while that is being discussed, this movie is literally like setting modern day records, bro, for like the smallest second week drop off. And it's also going to have or it will be a top 10 rated R movie of all time, if I'm not mistaken, in just flat out box office period. So yeah, man, this seems to be crazy, bro. It seems to be having legs. People are enjoying this movie. Y'all know that I don't give a damn about Rotten Tomatoes, but a lot of the general audience does. Even though they swear that they don't care, I'm always hearing about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I've heard that Rotten Tomatoes is really good. I'm like, yo, $50. You know what I mean? But even still, I don't think that you can really deny, you know what I mean, that this it seems to be a cultural kind of phenomenon that is sweeping the country, because it's doing great, fantastic numbers, Leon.
And you said it perfectly. That's precisely what I mean. It's a cultural phenomenon across the board. And yeah, I think people who are kind of, I don't know why I keep picking on this point of culturalism and, the anti-woke crowd, but I just think people need to kind of put down their pitchforks and stop approaching these movies, with this weird lens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. Like elections have already happened. People are already in offices. Like, things have been taken down, taken away. Things have been erected, right? It's all good. Things are kind of I'm not saying things are getting better or worse. Things are kind of evening out. I think we can all get back to like just looking at movies as movies and stop with the BS. Stop approaching everything like because there's a certain person of a certain type behind the camera or in front of the camera that we have to view this a certain way. I think this movie just lives on its own. It lives on its own strength, on its own strengths, I should say. And I think it is. It's kind of. It feels like a return to form. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look at this as like, oh, it's a black movie. It's obviously got black culture, but I'm just saying it just feels like a return to form. You know, and like Ox said, and money's green, and thankfully the viewing audience aren't doing what a lot of YouTubers out there are trying to do, which is like dissect this movie in weird ways. They see good trailer, they go see good movie, and they repeat view. It's awesome.
Right. This would W Mirror has shot me earlier.
Right? Oh, Hollywood. You think I should be grateful that Sinners, an original IP, is going to own the box office for the second weekend? Audience, I think you should be down on your knees. Yeah, seriously.
Seriously, bro. Hilarious, right?
Seriously. Yeah.
Oh wait, oh no, I'm jumping ahead. But yeah, bro, this is definitely a cultural phenomenon, and I think that the impact that it's having cannot be understated. This thing is amazing, bro. I'm looking all around, yo. People are in the theaters right now. This thing is selling out, bro. Like it's selling out. It's selling out all these theaters. I was at a sold out show last night. When I went to go see it the first time, it was sold out. I was looking at tickets earlier. It was something like, bro, this thing is selling tickets, dog. This is crazy. And everybody's talking about it. Like, and it's not just black people either. Like Leon was trying to say earlier. I've actually had people of all races. They've come up to me and asked me, yo, have you seen it? Yo, it was dope, right? And they start talking about their favorite parts and everything. This is just a great movie. So, yeah, put down the pitchforks, dog. Like, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, I just want to know what was bad about it. I've seen some weird titles to some weird channels and some weird videos. I just want to know what was bad or disappointing. What could be disappointing about an original movie that you didn't know any? You had no expectations. What were your expectations? This isn't a comic. This isn't an adapted book. This isn't a remake. Like, what were your expectations? Like, it disappointed me. The things I had in my head that it was supposed to, like, what? I don't know. For me, when I looked at this movie, it kept escalating. There was little shit that I've seen. You know what I mean? Like, there was little shit that I've seen in other horror films that I've seen for forever. And for some reason, when it happened in this movie, I was like, oh, God, it was unsettling. And like Haley Steinfeld, for example, not going to give any details, but when she had to encounter some people and they were doing their thing, it was like a unsettling and kind of humorous scene at the same time. And you could see her response to it was like, mother effer, please, I'm up out of here. And right before the scene changed, there was a thing that happened. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it just, and you it kind of leaves you there.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And I've seen something like that happen a million times.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The whole let me talk to you and try to convince you and blah blah blah, blah, all that. Yeah, man. But this one hit different in a lot of ways, dude. And I think that also seeing it with the audiences, man, look, dude, and just all being able to join in.
Yeah, absolutely. That part. No, I was just gonna say Ox said something that I keep forgetting to mention. That part right there.
Money is green.
No. This.
Okay.
That score, man.
Yeah.
When the guitar, bro. The distinct difference in music. So everybody involved with the Smokestack Brothers, they had a certain music. It was Southern, it was blues, it was folksy, it was funk. You get to those other people, and it's just
it felt like real old school horror shit.
Yeah,
I
was like, oh my god,
like,
I love
bro, almost like Vincent Price era type shit, almost
Vincent Price metal,
right? Like
Absolutely.
crazy, bro. And I was like, yo, this is
love
wild.
That. I love that. And I know people are gonna be like, well, I don't know. I don't know why I keep thinking about other people. Annoy me when it comes to reviewing and looking at movies nowadays. It's like you can't please anybody. Little shit like that gets me excited. Man, I'm just a movie nerd.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I love every time I nudged my date, and I was like, yo, I love this guitar part, and she started laughing. Like she's like, yeah, I do too. I loved it, man.
Somebody take me, bro. The music, dog. That scene in it. Oh yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, bro. Look, it just becomes a thing. Like, what are we doing, bro? And
yeah,
I'm starting to figure this out, right? Because I was because I be gaming, bro, and there's been something going on in Marvel Rivals, like some stupid little viral thing, right? Where the people that are playing support are on strike, right? And one of the things that are very, very prevalent in this is like people saying, man, streamers are ruining gaming. and I was like, bro, are streamers like ruining movies, bro? Like, is that what's going on? Like, have they ruined movies too? Is that what's happening?
Bro.
And I was like, bro, like this shit is probably what's happening. Cause it's like, bro, I don't know what we want anymore, dog. I don't know. It's like we say we want original stuff. Shit like Rebel Moon comes out, and like, oh no, it's terrible. Shit like Sinners come out, oh no. I mean, it's it's too black. It's like I don't know, dog. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. It's weird, man. And with Sinners, it seems like we're just having these weird conversations that are not surrounding how great the movie is. Like it's always been about this weird talk about profit or whatever. But look, we'll get to that soon, right? Anything that you want to add before we move on to the next?
No, I dig it. I dig it.
Look,
let's roll.
Cinematic experience, dog. I saw this shit. Look, hold up. I have a picture. This is not from my screening, but this is from just a IMAX projectionist that took this picture. Right? I need you guys to understand. I saw this at the same place I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League. I have not had a cinematic experience that has been of that ilk probably since then, bro. This movie had everything, and just the cinematography, the music, bro. How engaging it was, right? Because like also, I saw, or what really ranked up there for me in IMAX too was Oppenheimer, bro, right? But even as great as Oppenheimer was, this was more like that roller coaster ride, bro. And the music involved, I mean, I don't know, it just elevated this. It just felt different, bro, right? And not only did I have the experience of seeing it in IMAX 70 millimeter at Universal City, but I also took this from the Vista Theater over in Hollywood. You know what I mean? We was over there in 70 millimeter last night. And just seeing this and just feeling that rawness, bro, Cause that's how it felt, man. It almost felt more like I was watching one of them old school slasher movies, dog. Right? Because it was just that old school feeling, man, with the seats and like just the sound is amazing, and it's that Panavision, bro. Amazing, dude. Like I cannot understate how amazing of an experience that this was just cinematically, man. And I said it was my favorite in years, and I stand on that, dude. Like it's not no hyperbole. It's just everything that this film brings to the forefront. It just hits different, man. And the music is one of the main reasons why that is so, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Leon, but yeah, bro. I don't want to hear either one because I saw it on the biggest screen and the oldest shit that you could possibly find. That, bro, one of 10 in the world and one of 5 in the world, and that's according to Ryan Coogler. They ain't even from me. Ryan said that.
And shout out to you for seeing it in 70 millimeter, man, because that's incredible. I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna be judgmental. If you don't like this movie, you don't have a pulse. You are a vampire. Like I gotta start checking you in the old folklore ways, because that's, I don't know, man. Like,
oh wait, let me answer your question too. Yeah, IMAX was my favorite, bro. Fuck yeah. I'm sorry, dog.
Yeah.
That shit was.
I get that cinematically. It's like the 70 millimeter, and it's like you want to be a cinephile about it, but let's be real about it. I figured
that shit was ZSJL screen, dog.
I figured.
Can you imagine seeing that on the fucking ZSJL screen? The only thing I wish is that it was all like that, because it wasn't all like that. But like when it opened up, bro.
That's what's up. Yeah, it's incredible. My cinematic experience wasn't quite like those two experiences that he had, but just my experience on like the quote unquote basic theatrical level. I loved it. The crowd was into it too. It wasn't like as potentially annoying as when I went to go see like comparatively Get Out, where people were basically talking at the movie. I wasn't annoyed, but I'm just saying potentially annoying. This movie was like breathtaking in a lot of ways. And then there were times that the audience, like towards the end in particular, when a particular character encountered some other characters, and I'll just leave it at that. You know what I'm talking about? The three letter characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The when that occurred, it was like, what? Yeah, it was like the theater went nuts, and you could tell that the theater was very much into it throughout the film. And I don't know, man, everything that the movie was trying to do, the crowd reacted according to what I think the movie was trying to do. Like if they wanted you to laugh at this moment, everybody laughed. If they wanted you to gasp and hold your breath, it did. People were silent and staring, or at least it felt that way. I'm not looking at everybody's eyes, obviously. If there were parts where there was a part where that scene that he showed, that was chilling as fuck, man. That messed with me. I was like, oh my God. Because the whole movie felt, at least for me, it felt very real in its own way. Like you felt like you were in the world with them, especially the way they started to unravel everything that was going on. It was like, is this what's happening? No. Is this what's happening? No. Is this what's happening? Yes. Okay. Wow. This is what we're dealing with. Let's prepare and get ready. It felt like, because we got a large Zack Snyder appreciation audience, right? It felt like when the world was introduced to the Superman, right? The reality of that, where there's no heroes all prominent like that. They're just myths and folklore. And then all of a sudden, like the characters in the film are faced with this new reality of, oh shit, these myths are real. Same thing happened in the movie, and you felt that shit. It was just like, oh my God, this is real. So Yeah.
Which also, there's an Xbox game, bro, that just came out recently called South of Midnight, and it has a lot of that in it, bro. It's set in the South too, and it's about all that supernatural stuff and it all being real and everything. And it's so crazy having that crossover. And because I was literally watching Sinners, and then I was playing a game, and in the game, like most of the enemies are all Haints. So like when she was like, "Oh, is you a Haint?" I'm like, "Oh, nah, they're actually vampires." Like, nah, those enemies that she was talking about, I've been putting in work on them. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I was reading a comment. What did it say? Black people that didn't like it because of the trauma. Have they? have they never
Black
seen
trauma stuff?
What, this movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would more so go for like that being in like stuff like Django or whatever, or like slave stuff. This wasn't really. I didn't get any of that. Like it. If anything, I think that this was about like ownership. You know what I mean? It was so many things that this movie was about, bro.
Well,
you know what I mean? And like, I don't know.
To get specific about this particular topic in the chat about Black trauma, that's usually associated with, like slavery and stuff. And this movie wasn't about that. It was just there was no specific. This movie wasn't about specific Black trauma. This is about trauma for everybody. Everybody in this movie was suffering. For everybody. The only people that didn't suffer were I'm not going to give it away, but there were people in the beginning riding in on horses. They didn't seem to suffer. They seemed to know what was up real quick. Yeah, facts.
They knew what was up. They was like, hey, good luck to you.
Facts. They even prayed for him. They said, God bless you, basically, right? Amen.
God bless.
So here's the thing, right? Anybody, and this is just me being an asshole. Anybody that's I'm not gonna say black, but I'm gonna say black. Anybody that's black, you're talking about there's Black trauma in this. That sounds like a personal problem, because there was literally nothing that would be a direct like Black trauma situation. There was no. In other words, there was no real trauma that was specific to Black people in this film, if that makes sense. I mean, unless you're counting the end, and that's not necessarily. That's just like an antagonist. Just like mini antagonist. They didn't do anything that was a direct, like, you get what I'm saying, Scott? I'm trying to dance around the details.
There wasn't any direct, like, overt racism in this movie.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, it was just, it was like,
just basic, like, you expect that out of the characters who presented it.
Characters, bro.
Just like the main antagonist of the film.
It was more like
them
subtle,
to do.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't know. I have a hard time, and that's the thing. I'm so glad this conversation is being had, because that's another thing, like the anti-woke and then like the woke, where it's like, oh, we see Black people, so we're anti-woke. Then it's like you have those that are woke that are like, oh my God, Black people, oh, we must conjure the trauma, and it's like, no, this film did none of that.
Yeah.
It was just an incredible cinematic experience, and I hate that there's any sort of, if there's any trauma or suffering, it's the film itself going through all these bullshit filters, man. It's just a fantastic film that just so happened to be directed by a Black man and starring Black men. That's it.
Yeah,
with a lot of Black culture steeped in it.
Yeah, I didn't see us as powerless in the movie.
Not at all.
You know,
not even a little.
Yeah. I didn't see any like us being powerless or not able to really overcome, like, you know, I mean, you got to watch the movie, but yeah, it wasn't really on that to me, bro. I mean, it was directed by Ryan Coogler, bro. He sound like he was in front of the liquor store 20 minutes ago and I was talking to him. You know what I mean? Like, I know motherfuckers that sound like this dude
every day, bro.
At the liquor store, dog. That's real talk.
Facts.
He sound like my homie. You know what I mean? Like,
Facts.
yeah,
He don't hide it either.
Yeah, bro, he can't.
He be like,
He can't hide
hey,
it.
you know what I'm saying? This movie, you know what I'm saying? This movie being in 70 millimeter.
You know, it's 15 perforations. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Exactly. When you see them 15 perforations, that's when you know it's 70 millimeter. You got to count them perforations on the top there.
15 perf. You know what I mean?
Yo, shout out to Ryan Coogler, bro. Shout out to Ryan Coogler.
Facts, bro.
For keeping it raw, man.
Facts,
and professional at the same time. That's quite the balancing act.
Crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, that was my cinematic experience.
Not many can walk, not many
that
can
fine
walk
line.
that line, bro.
Yes,
but
sir.
He's walking it, bro, for sure.
Yes,
sir. You know what I mean? Dude sound like Nipsey Hussle, dog. Nipsey Hussle that went to film school. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, dog. When I be listening to him talk, bro, I'm so proud because it's dope.
He's the most West Coast sounding guy I've ever heard in my life, I think. I'm not kidding, bro.
Dope, dog.
When I hear him, I'm like, damn, he sound more West Coast than rappers that I've heard and met.
Facts, bro.
It's insane.
No, it's dope.
He don't hide it at all.
Dope. I
love it.
My homies when I listen to him talk. You know what I mean?
And that's a part of culture too. People don't get, like, there's dialects.
Yeah.
To the language of English.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really, it was, you know, he said from like a historical context. Yeah, because look, if you really think about it, it was multiple, bro, just I don't know. Cause the people in the beginning they weren't powerless. You know what I mean?
Nope.
The people that we were just talking about, the Smokestack twins, damn sure wasn't powerless.
You know what I mean? Guy, what's crazy about this movie is quite literally all classes of people in this movie were powerful. Every all of them. All of them, bro. From the good guys to the bad guys to MB, they had power, and it was about how were they going to use their power to overcome someone else's power. That's all it was, if we think about it, right? Like, no matter what, if you want to call it about a race thing or a culture thing or just a money thing, and then you get to the supernatural, right? The supernatural elements, that, right? Like, everybody had power in this movie of their own kind, and they were wielding it in ways that try to usurp the other.
Yeah, man. It was a lot
fascinating
of themes
film.
About it was a lot of themes about equality and stuff, like, but done in a dope way where it's like, where it's kind of, I don't know. Y'all gotta see the movie. I don't want to spoil too much.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But he said cool is that the West Coast guy got to make a movie about the Deep South and got the culture correctly. Well, it don't really matter where you from. All of us got roots in the South, pretty much. Like, you know what I mean? So, like,
thank you, Scott.
So, like, the South, usually, for the most part, if you go back far enough, we all kind of got roots in the South. So,
not only that,
I got roots in Louisiana. You know what I mean?
I'm from the South. When I hear people from the West
Texas,
Coast, they sound like people from the South. Whether y'all realize it or not, I hear Southern twang in a lot of y'all's dialect in the West Coast. Like, it's embedded in y'all. You know what I mean? So hell, we got shit named. Like, the names here are named states and cities and towns over there too. Like, it's so much in common with each other, especially West Coast to South. Is a very, like, Westerns are very Southern, and a lot of Westerns take place where California would be. You know, in those time frames, and it's very country.
Yeah, it's Wild West, man. That's where they was coming. The Wild West.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I just did want to talk about that a little bit because
absolutely,
because I saw this at the two different extremes, man, and I was like, bro, this was one of the dopest things I done rocked out to. And shout out to Ryan Coogler for even having these options, dog.
Facts.
Like, hold on real quick, because that's also something that I want to touch on, bro. Like, that's also what makes this so special is that
it don't matter how you want to see this movie, you had an opportunity to go see it. And not all films do that. If you wanted it in IMAX with all the drippings, you could have that. If you wanted a 40X with the moving seats, and you know what I mean, you want the splish splash, right? Like, yo, it didn't matter how you wanted to see this film, you had an opportunity. 70 millimeter, right? He's like, yo, we got it in 5 theaters, 70 millimeter, 10 with the IMAX 70 millimeter. And then it's in all these other IMAX. You got IMAX laser, you got the Dolby. It's like, bro, it didn't matter how you wanted to see this film, you had that option. Can you quickly kind of touch on that before we move on to?
Oh yeah, it's incredible. That's why I appreciate Ryan Coogler's passion and whatever deals that he struck, because you know he made sure that this thing was seen any way, shape, or form that you possibly could, and I appreciate that, especially when, like, he's clearly a child of cinema and a man of cinema, man. Like, this dude loves cinema. He was like, "We're gonna get this in 70 millimeter, and for all the cinephiles out there, y'all gotta rush and go get it. It's like a limited edition sort of a situation." And I love it. That aspect really made me. It touched me. You know, I love stuff like that, man. Like,
yeah, man,
I love it, man.
Yeah, that was dope. Getting that old school retro feel last night, man. That was amazing. I might actually try to catch it in 70 millimeter one more time, but that'll have to be after I try to do one more IMAX, because I literally can only do that tonight or tomorrow.
Hey, Warner Brothers.
Because after that, it won't be in no more IMAX theaters. So,
word, Warner Brothers, Ryan Coogler, everybody involved. I'm gonna need that in steelbook, embossed, debossed, 70 millimeter, and whatever else you want to put as special edition. I'm buying 2 of them, John.
Oh yeah, I'm copping this, bro. Look, let's go ahead and move on to this last part of the conversation, bro. The weird discourse that has been going on surrounding this movie, yo. It seems like we've been talking about the profitability, bro, how much money that this movie was gonna make since before, like well before the movie came out, bro. Right? And it's just been incredibly weird to me, man, how like the entire conversation has been shifting from the quality of the movie or anything like that over to its viability, profit wise, how, like, bro, you've even had people like Ben Stiller chiming in and saying like, hey, why are you guys trying to talk about the profitability already, and this is a original movie and it's making money, and you guys are twisting these headlines trying to make it seem like this movie isn't doing well. Like, what the hell is going on with this film, bro? And why does it seem to be that it's getting treated so differently than its contemporaries, bro?
Weird, right? And I got a question to the audience. Like, just go search headlines or think back to when you saw Reservoir Dogs. Did Reservoir Dogs get this much smoke? I think not.
Crazy, bro. Crazy, you know? And there's also been a lot of talk surrounding Ryan Coogler's contract and how he is going to get the rights back after 25 years. And it's been like this big kerfuffle and big hubbub being made about, oh my God, this deal is, you know, and it's going to wreck Hollywood, and all these leaks are coming out about people saying, oh my God, like, we can't be having this, right? I am going to play this video that I found. Let's see what Ryan Coogler had to say about a lot of the discourse kind of surrounding this film and its profitability and his contract.
Word.
And talk talk about what you negotiated in making Sinners, the arrangement you had with Warner Brothers. The New York Times reports Warner Brothers agreed to spend $90 million to make Sinners and agreed to give you a cut of gross ticket sales, now rare arrangement known as first dollar gross, meaning before they recoup their costs, you're getting money as well. Warner also agreed, and this is absolutely key, to relinquish its ownership of the film to you after 25 years. The Times reports, quote, some rival film companies were horrified that Warner Brothers would give a film away even after a period of time. Talk about these key components of your contract and why this was so critical for you, Ryan Coogler.
That's a great question, Amy. What I will do is I'll maybe add some context that maybe those articles didn't add. I'm not the first filmmaker to get any of these deals, you know. And Warner Brothers is not the first studio to provide these deals to a filmmaker. You know, so like I think that a lot has been made of my deal in particular. I'm not totally sure why. You know, I have my guesses. You know, but I've been in the industry long enough to know what kind of deals are possible, and nothing about this deal is a new thing. You know.
What's your guesses,
Ryan?
It
is not a I'd rather not say. but you know, like the attention on what's happening with this project, you know, outside of it as a piece of art and as a piece of commerce has been very interesting, you know. But for me, you know, this film was very important to me. As a writer director, I've made over $2 billion at the global box office. I'm not yet 40 years old. It's taken a lot of time, commitment, energy, and I've missed out on a lot of things in my life. Making films that will always be owned by other people. For this one, because it was so personal, and because I had the ability to negotiate. You know, I asked for a few things that were very important to me for this project, you know, and for what it was about and what it meant to me and my family. And thankfully, you know, I was able to get those things I was asking for from Warner Brothers.
Yo. Shout out to the homie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Great answer. But man, that was a powerful clip. There was a lot in that, Leon. I'm gonna let you cook first, bro. What you think about what he had to say about all this discourse, bro?
It's crazy, man. It's kind of what I was saying throughout this whole conversation about the film, man. Like, okay, I highlighted Dennis Medina says this deal sounds fair. Hopefully it becomes a standard. It already is a standard. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that people don't understand is that, yeah, I'm gonna just say it. Look, man, this type of shit don't really happen with people unless they black in Hollywood. I'm not saying that it only happens to people who are black. I'm just saying there's a consistency of there's an inconsistency of keeping that same energy with everybody, because this sort of a deal, first of all, when is the last time you ever seen Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, and I'm talking at the beginning of their, and this isn't even the beginning of Ryan Coogler's career, by the way. This man has made over $2 billion in the global box office. He said that. He's not new booty. He's quite
flex, Ryan.
Facts. He is up there with the best of the best. He's up there with the greats because he does not have a bad film under his belt.
No, he does not.
He may have movies that you don't particularly love, like Black Panther or whatever the case may be. I like Black Panther. I loved it the first time I saw it, and there's a lot of love that I have for its existence. But I would rather watch a Fruitvale Station from him and a Sinners from him than I would a Black Panther. but that's neither here nor there. I'm a cinema snob.
Creed's fire too.
The Creed films are great, right? Long story short, I'm just gonna pretend like this is his first film because that's how everybody's treating him, right? Look at Nolan, Tarantino, hell, Zack Snyder, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Todd Phillips. Any of those names, have they ever been dragged out into the media and their entire freaking financial resume has been read out to an audience like the way she did? I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying, like, she read that man's entire receipts. Again, she's not the villain here at all. I'm just saying, like, but I know his financials and his deals. I shouldn't have to know this. We usually find these things out through leaks and trickling down of information and hearsay, and then we connect the dots later. It's always fun to do that. We've done that several times with many names that I just named, but we've never had Zack Snyder go, yeah, man, once this is done, blah, 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 because someone's, even Zack Snyder, who has been vilified, right, by the Hollywood media, has never had his financials read out loud. Like, oh my God, there's a problem. That's weird. Hopefully, Nolan, that won't happen. You will never see that happen, but you'll more than likely see that happen if another brother gets out there with a deal similar to this. But again, these deals are commonplace with a lot of the names that I just named. Quentin Tarantino being one of them. That's why I keep naming him. Yeah. You think Hollywood got his shit hostage? No. You think Nolan shit? No. You kidding me? But for some reason, with Ryan Coogler, it's a problem. Hell, those other directors I just named, they get praised for having deals like this.
Facts, bro. That's the difference, you know?
He goes, a man who knows.
Oh my God.
And he
are they actually gonna let fucking Nolan set off a nuclear bomb? Y'all remember that when we were talking about would he actually be able to set, right? What would that contract have to look like, dog, for him to actually be able to do this? Right.
But I look, I know Sin Havoc's good at stuff like this. If put in the chat some a deal that I'm talking about where they've talked about it in the media through leaks, but we ain't never heard them have a sit down.
Yeah, and like,
you feel me?
Be like, yo, hey, like, what's going on with this? And you know,
you got this, man, you got this dollar deal and that dollar deal and blah blah blah.
Right, you're getting some of the profits before the movie is even profitable. Once again,
like, what is that?
That's not new.
What is that? That's
not new.
She's saying that, and she's reading that out loud, right?
As if it's something special. And
right. Todd Phillips did the same thing with the first Joker, which is why that movie that didn't necessarily need a sequel, despite what you think of the quality, he cashed out and bounced. You know what I mean? Because they didn't believe in his work. That's why we found that information out. It was leaked out. They didn't sit Todd Phillips down and start putting a spotlight on him, reading him his rights. That's crazy. Because why would you do that?
Crazy. Right? Yeah. There's been a lot of weird discourse surrounding this movie, man. And Ryan Coogler said that, you know, he got his guesses, but he wasn't willing to share, which I thought was a great answer.
It was a perfect answer. I'll say it for
you,
man.
It's not. Ryan. It's totally weird, man. It's totally weird. Like, you know, and you're starting to see this in a lot of different kind of avenues right now, right? Like, I'm gonna get into the Shador Sanders thing in another video, but I can't help but feel the same way about what they're doing to Ryan Coogler. Like, it just seems weird, bro. Like, it's like out of nowhere, there's been all this discourse about like, hey, is this movie gonna be profitable? And right, it seems like studio talk, man. And it's like, yo, is that what's going on? Like, is that why all of these people are so in a tizzy? Right? Because that hand, you know what I'm saying, up that back. Yeah, I mean?
Exactly.
Because it's crazy, bro. Like, who would have these talking points? Like, why would you be worried about the profitability of this movie before it comes out? That shit makes no sense to the average fan. Even if you're a content creator, what the hell are you worried about that for? If you're just going to go see the movies and cover them, right? I don't know, man. Weird, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting. And that's what kind of leads me to believe that, you know, like you're saying, like a lot of these YouTubers essentially are out here, you know, trying to protect the corporations, right? It's like we know how this works. The corporate media or corporations go to the corporate media and they spin their narratives via articles and you know, live news, right? And then the third or fourth arm of that would be what is now known as the YouTube community, the content creator streamers. It used to be guys like us who aren't bought and paid for, who are just making like, yeah, it's the juggernaut bitch videos. No. Now it's guys who are, I'm just a fan and I just so happen to have all this high-tech equipment and all this editing skills and all the time in the world to make all this content and blah, blah, blah. No, you're not a fan. You're a guy who probably didn't make it in Hollywood. And you're somebody's nephew. And now they're sending your ass out to be on YouTube to say that Sinners is bombing at the box office or it's disappointing or it's trash or it's woke. Just so this man doesn't get a buck,
bro.
And a profit.
I don't understand, bro. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. It's something that was pointed out to me by two different people. Was they kind of felt like this was the Black from Dusk Till Dawn, right? Which it does have a lot of influences from that film, right? And it's like, okay, are we about to start killing that movie too? Because they're very similar. But like, I think this might be better, bro. Just, bro, the music alone, dog, like that shit is transformative, man.
If we're talking one's better than the other, just I'm not trying to compare them like that because I hate to do that sometimes. Bro. But Sinners is better. I'll tell you why too. Because From Dusk Till Dawn, you can literally saw that movie in half, and there's one half of the movie that's going to be, you know, two crazed heist guys trying to escape the law, literally. And then all of a sudden, the other half of the film is this crazy ass, over the top vampire flick. You can literally saw the movie in half. This film wasn't that, right? You literally have in the beginning the notes that are going to lead you to the rest of the film. And then before you even get to the center of the film, you have another wink, wink hint at what's to come when something occurs. I'm not going to say it. I'll just say that the guy looks like he's a fallen angel from the sky. Kind of satanic, right? Like the way he appears in the scene, the way he staggers. You know what I'm talking about? He looks like a vulture, almost like flapping towards the house. That none of that happened in From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn, you didn't know, like it suddenly turned into a freaking supernatural film out of nowhere. Whereas this film had sprinkles and nods and breadcrumbs leading you to what was to come. So no, they're, you know, similar, but no. So that's that cinematic brain of mine. My bad.
Bro, he said they should be complaining about executives giving themselves crazy pay raises, right?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, man.
Crazy, bro. Crazy, but we out here trying to say that this movie ain't profitable, or like, I don't know, dog.
Anybody going out there trying to protect corporations and suits, you're tripping, man. You're tripping. Like, I already know you're a red flag.
Unless it's Drake with this lawsuit.
If you know, you know.
That's the only one.
Facts.
That's the only one. I'm sorry. And
shout out to
that disclaimer.
Facts. Shout out to Abu Nas.
God.
Thanks for showing up, bro.
Hey, run for your life. Hey, nah. Bro, but look, also, not only do we have the weird discourse kind of surrounding this film, right, but also everything that's been dealing with Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi over at Warner Brothers recently, right? And y'all know that I ain't no fan of Warner Brothers, dog.
Yeah, no, hell no.
I ain't no fan of Warner Brothers at all. But like the weird trying to like shit on Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi is just crazy to me because they got another hit in theaters right now, dog. See, here's what I think happened, bro. I think they wanted Minecraft to flop. I think they wanted Sinners to flop. That way, no matter what happens with this damn Superman movie, because I think it's all about Superman, bro. I think everything that we seeing right now with all this shit is weirdly connected to Superman. Because on another hand, it's like, bro, if all of these movies are doing well and then that shit flops, how does that look? Just like when I was saying, like, hey, how is it going to look if a movie with Zack Snyder's Henry Cavill in it doesn't do well at the box office? Right? How is it going to look when we're hitting on all cylinders until your shit come out? And then you're the flop. And you can't hide now, bro. You gonna hide behind Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, who got another hit on their hands, which they even came out in an article and was like, yo, we fucking defend this contract that we gave him. It was like, yo, somebody else was gonna make this movie. It might as well be us.
It's sad that they actually got to come out and say that too.
Crazy, bro. Crazy that they got to come out and say, hey, how are y'all going on one hand say Joker 2 was our fault, but then not give us credit for Minecraft? Right? I mean, look, with them getting Ryan Coogler, this contract, is that another reason why they trying to hate? I don't know. But this shit weird, bro. It's weird how all this is going on. Right? It feels very similar to what happened with that Black Adam movie, dog. Like, it's the same playbook. They're just doing the same shit all over again.
100%, bro.
Civil War at WBD. Crazy. We're seeing this play out.
Yep.
We are legit seeing this play out. That's why we were getting all those leaks that they were probably about to get fired. That's why Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi came out and did that damn interview after Minecraft came out. That's why they did another interview after all this Sinners discourse started.
There were people on stream saying dumb shit. I repeat, stupid nonsense. Talking about should Mike and Pam keep their jobs. I was like, after Minecraft's success, listen, man. If the guy over there running a DCU or DC Studios or whatever you want to call it gets to keep his job after flops and horrible tweets about children, then why can't Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca keep their jobs after a fucking hit?
Crazy.
Crazy,
bro.
Wasn't Dune 2 a hit?
Crazy, bro. Crazy.
Like,
bro.
are people slow?
Crazy,
Did Joker
bro.
2 break everybody?
Crazy, bro. But also, hold up. Where that thing? But also, Joker 2, the movie James Gunn bragged about giving notes on. He legit bragged. I remember because they was like, oh yeah, because somebody on Twitter and he was responding to some bot and he was like, oh yeah, I hope that somebody would have told me that before I started giving notes. Y'all remember that? I do. Wish they would have told me before I started giving notes. That came out of James Gunn's Twitter, dog. James Gunn said that. No. Yeah, it's just insane, bro. It is insane how this whole thing has continued on and how Zaslav seems to keep getting pay raises, right? And at the end of the day, it's like the people that are bringing money in are almost being shuffled out the door at the same time. It's crazy, bro.
Wasn't Barbie a hit?
Barbie too, dog.
Bro, I'm real confused. Like I'm not trying to make
$1 billion,
this
dog. $1 billion, dog.
Wow. I'm not trying to make this a thing, man, but I just got to call out weirdo YouTube channels and streamers and podcasters who question Mike and Pam DeLuca's existence.
That shit's crazy, bro.
If we're talking quality, whatever, that's a whole other conversation. That's just opinion bullshit. But if we're talking box office, they have several hits since being with WBD. Several. Just like every studio, they have some hits and they have some misses. That's literally every studio. There's nothing,
bro.
There's nothing unique about that experience. Nothing unique about it at all.
Just like nothing unique about Ryan Coogler's contract.
You beat me to it. Yes,
right?
sir.
Like,
Great
it's
mind.
crazy, bro. It's crazy. But it's like it just seems to be a thing right now. Why is that?
It's weird that we got to be the channels that aren't trying to peddle negativity. It's weird we got to be those guys. Like, we're not the everything is awful guys. We're not the everything is awesome guys either. Everything is awesome. Bro, we be on the same page.
Hey, that shit's fire, dog. Everything. Hey, the Lego movie is fire, bro.
It really is, bro.
Fire movie.
Everything is
that
awesome.
First one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for
Classic.
sure.
Did not expect that, bro.
I wasn't really feeling the Batman Lego movie. It wasn't complete garbage or anything. It's cool for kids and whatnot.
It was totally
but
a step back, bro.
Lego movie was funny.
Lego
for
movie
like
is
kids and adults. It was a little cute movie.
That was a shock.
But bro, we're not allowed to say that because everything is awful. Like that's the thing, man. Like
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, no. It's just this discourse has been strange to say the least, bro. That James Gunn can do YouTube numbers with Peacemaker because once again, no matter what you think of the show, the finale has 640K. All right. I didn't make those numbers up. You know what I mean? That's what was reported. The Penguin had 5 million people watching that shit. We're going to see how many people watch Peacemaker season 2. I'm very interested because now, because look, before it was, oh, well, it wasn't that many people on HBO Max, which, whatever. Right? Now, Penguin did 5 million. So if you ain't doing somewhere around there, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing, bro? How is this going to be? How is this a situation where this guy in James Gunn has been able to have a bona fide flop with the Suicide Squad? The Peacemaker does fucking YouTube numbers. Nobody is over there excited for any Creature Commandos flopped, right? Every single movie that he gave notes on flopped since he's taken over, right? He has taken literal billion-dollar franchises and given notes on them, and then they flopped. These are facts. I don't care. You can go argue with your mom, bro, right? He gives notes on all these movies. They flop. And yet Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, they're the problems. And they got shit in theaters right now making money. 2 movies at the same time making money. And they're the problem? No, that's weird as hell to me, bro. That's weird as hell to me. That don't make no sense, dog.
Absolutely, bro.
He said, I think less than who watched Peacemaker season 1. Bro, if that show does less, dog, all these years later, pack it up.
I don't even understand why they would even do another season. If I'm being honest, like at this point, I think we've all.
I don't think it'll do less
on. Yeah, I don't
But-
either. I don't.
Yeah.
I think that
But I wouldn't
statistically
be fucking
they have
shocked.
right because like HBO
Would
Max
you
has
be
more
shocked?
viewers. No,
Would
not
you
at
be
all.
shocked, bro?
Not at all. Not at all. Because because the character, everything about it, everything that even Cena himself, he's not box office money at all. No offense to Cena, like him as a professional wrestler, he's somewhat box office still, right? But like him as an actor outside the WWE, nobody's pulling up to go see a John Cena movie like that.
You mean to tell me you
offense.
wasn't rocking with the Marine, dog?
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about the Marine. Oh
you
my
wasn't
goodness.
rocking with the Marine, dog.
The Marine. Yeah, man.
Come on, man.
And again, like he's not box office, he's not a draw like that. So there's a clear separation and distinction when it comes to his audience transferring from wrestling to the box office, period. And then you couple that with ain't nobody pulling up for the Peacemaker, like the character. It could be anybody in that suit.
Season 1 ain't even canon from season 2. Bro, I was trying to explain that shit to my homie. he was so confused. He was so confused, dog. I was like, look, they're doing a season 2. He was like, yo, but they had the Justice League in season 1. I was like, bro, season 1 ain't canon. He was like, what? I was like, bro. He was like, what do you mean season 1 is not canon? I was like, bro, it's not canon, dog. You just gotta trust James Gunn's vision, dog. Like, you know what I mean? So that show that you liked, that shit didn't count.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that shit didn't count, bro.
Crazy, man.
Yo, I actually saw the trailer for this. It's called Heads of State. I actually want to see that shit.
Yeah, I was about to say
it's gonna be on Amazon.
Just about to
I'm gonna
say,
check it out.
I don't think I'm gonna not see that. I have Amazon Prime, so it's not like if it's something to watch.
And it's really for Idris Elba because he's still in the movie.
Facts. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, he is the main star,
bro. I'm one of them types. Every time I see Idris Elba in something, I go, okay, that's what's up. Shit. What did they say? Businesses picked up. Yeah, man. Like when he popped up in one of them Extraction movies, I was like, was it the second one? Yeah, it was the second one, I think.
Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. He wasn't even in it that long.
Definitely wasn't.
Idris is dope, man. Idris is dope. So that would be the reason I watched it. Hey, shout out to him in the Luther series and the Luther movie that came out on Netflix, for sure.
Man, look, I don't want to get. You know what? I'm gonna save that because I've been seeing some more Netflix slander, bro, and I gotta go.
Same, bro. It's kind of goofy,
bro. I gotta go in, as if like, bro, and it's crazy because we gotta be the people. Why does it have to be us, bro? It just has to be. Because like I fucking look around, bro, and I'm just disappointed. Bro, I literally like just be like going down like my home page and stuff, and I be seeing all these different people that I'm not subscribed to, bro, and I just be like, yo, man, it's really not a lot out there, bro. It's really not, dog.
Wait, say that again. I didn't hear that last part.
No, I'm like, it's just really not a lot out there in terms of creativity in this content shit, man. Like, it's just not a lot of people. Like, it just has to be us to have these conversations, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's like I keep seeing the same style of talking about these movies, and it's just, again, not to sound funny, but everything is awful. Everything is bad and disappointing, and I'm just wondering, like, I don't know, what do people like anymore? What do people want? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know anymore, bro. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. But hey, man,
outside of agendas, right? What do y'all want?
Oh yeah, and real quick too, because before we close on up, The weird stuff, how the Rock kind of played into the Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi situation too.
Yeah.
You want to kind of touch on that because it seemed like a very similar situation.
Yeah. Real quick, alley oop it, you know what I'm saying? Like with
I'll actually be right back. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With
that first one is the one that you want to play first if you want to play the video.
Oh, where we at? Let me look. Let me look.
Because that was the first one that and then it was because the first one was the why he was there.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yep.
So
I'll be right back.
Absolutely. So yeah, when Sky and I were talking about all this stuff behind the scenes, and we didn't really give in like super detailed thoughts about this stuff. We're kind of going real in depth on the stream right now, which is cool because you want to save your best stuff for the audience, obviously, right? But it just, as we're talking about it, it just kind of oddly started to be reminiscent of the Black Adam situation, right? I'm sure everybody remembers what took place during the rollout of Black Adam, the Rock getting out there and basically almost campaigning to become like head of DC of sorts, and him trying to get Henry Cavill back. That was secured. Him introducing us to Superman again. That happened. And then the media onslaught of, pretty much kind of discussing Black Adam in strange ways, but also discussing The Rock in weird ways. And all of a sudden, The Rock was a bad guy, and he's pissing in places he shouldn't, and he's pissing people off, and this and that, and this and that, and this and that. And then there was this whole, him and whatever he's doing behind the scenes is the reason why the movie didn't do as well as it, was supposed to do, and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But just as usual, when The Rock adds his brand and his command to a thing, whether one likes it or not, there's an elevation of the product. For example, Black Adam is still the only, and I repeat, the only post Zack Snyder era movie in that whole Hamada Safran sort of era that has made the most money, right? Box office wise. Let me pause for a minute. Check the chat. I see we have a super chat, or a member chat, I should say, for about 8 months. We got Mark coming in. He says, super random. LA Rams, last pick in the draft today, on their Twitter, has Zach's Man of Steel as his banner. Tweeted at him to see if he's a big Zach fan. Would be cool to have a pro support the cause. Yeah, we did have a pro, and may he rest in peace. But yeah, it would be cool to have another, for sure. Let me go on ahead and give you a drop for that.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Good.
Awesome run, Zach.
That was incredible.
That was amazing.
That was fun.
Hear the double touch?
You're like, that's fine.
That was amazing.
That's
That
great.
was so cool.
That was a run.
That's good.
That's funny how everybody always gets that wrong. They think he says that was fine. He says that was fun, actually. But anyway, I digress. So, hey, thank you again for the super member chat. Mark, who's been a member for about 8 months. So back to, The Rock. So that situation, right, was very strange. And we all know that a lot of that was propaganda from those within the studio and those outside of the studio, trying to sully the name of The Rock. And The Rock just basically, like he usually does, it seems, he kind of washes his hands of a situation and walks away from it. He's not going to make a big stink about it because he understands that his brand is much bigger than the situation that's occurring in that moment, right? Why would he have to go out there and try to get ahead of situations when people are just talking shit? And I think, like, people have to learn to do more of that in life, because at the end of the day, The Rock's brand hasn't gone down. He's still just as hot as he was 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, he's still doing what he's doing, and he's making business deals behind the scenes, no matter what one thinks of him, right? Now, to this situation with WWE that occurred recently, that is, again, eerily reminiscent of the Black Adam situation, where he did not have any help from James Gunn, by the way, in promoting Black Adam. Hint, hint, if you know, you know. The situation with WWE was everybody was disappointed, allegedly, with everything that occurred in both nights of WrestleMania, and people felt very disappointed and very let down by the lack of help from The Rock, who supposedly was there and started a storyline, and he's the way they're coming at him like he's the head of creative and creativity and writing and producing wrestling shows, right? Like, they made The Rock the all-around guy, the all-seeing, all-knowing guy of WWE all of a sudden, right? But that's not the case. The Rock is just, he's a guy who's one of the heads of TKO. He's not the head of creative, right? He can have creative license, but it's only if necessary, right? He can't just wave a magic wand and all of a sudden he is running every aspect of WWE, including whatever happens storyline wise and the outcomes, right? I'll let Rock explain himself, then I'll go through the details. Take a listen.
Sales are a little slow, but beyond that, he goes, what we are finding is with Elimination Chamber, it's become the pay-per-view that's been interesting. Fans have had fun, but it's also the conduit to WrestleMania. And how do we create a Elimination Chamber that people must tune in to see? How do we create that? And he goes, right now, we don't have that. And he said, will the final boss show up? I said, well, let me give it some thought and let me get back to you. So I gave it some thought. I got back to Ari. I got back to Triple H and Nick. We had a call. And I said, I have an idea. What's most important to the final boss? The most important thing to the final boss isn't titles. It's not money. It's not fame. Been there, done that, and grateful for that. Final boss wants your soul. And what does that mean? What that means, that doesn't mean, hey, the final boss wants you to act like this, be like this at his beck and call and treat you like crap and make you do all these things that are unbecoming or embarrassing. That's not what the final boss wants. That's not how the final boss flies. No. What that means is whatever you could think of in your head. So Cody Rhodes, whatever dreams you have, whatever ambitions you have, even if they're dark, even if they're amazing and they're full of light, even if they're scary, whatever those are, you tell the final boss he's going to make it all happen. You wave that magic wand, he'll make it all happen. So when it comes to giving me your soul, giving the final boss your soul, that is what you want, not what the final boss wants. And so what does the final boss get out of that? I get your soul for life. That's what the final boss gets out of that. No, so now we go into Elimination Chamber with this idea of, will Cody Rhodes sell his soul to the final boss? And my thought at that time, and you and I might have even I know we talked about this, was it was a litmus test to find out, in my opinion, how will fans respond if Cody sold his soul to the final boss?
So all right. To give more context to that, because I know people are like, what? WWE, blah, blah. Again, we have a situation where The Rock, who has put his brand and his engine, his power and his will behind Black Adam. Like, we know The Rock goes all in, right? The Brahma Bull puts his horns all in a situation, right? And he's trying to get this movie as much box office as possible, right? And he's out there cutting promos essentially to promote Black Adam, right? Things start happening behind the scenes that are completely against what he's trying to do in terms of Black Adam, which is going to be tiptoeing the feet back into the Snyderverse, right? Start the machinations with that. Was it going to be perfectly pretty? Who knows? Was that going to just come the next day? Who the hell knows? All we knew is that Black Adam wanted Henry Cavill, that Superman, that version of Superman, arguably, if not the greatest version of Superman in the modern era. And there was a whole bunch of machinations going on behind the scenes that sullied that, right? We had people from media outlets coming left and right, and we had people from the YouTube streaming space coming left and right against it, and we had people and social media coming against it, right? That same style of adversity against The Rock seems to be happening again with WWE in a situation where there were certain metrics that weren't being met with pay-per-views and TV shows. For example, after the Netflix deal, they did amazing numbers on the first episode, right? That's after, WrestleMania, obviously. After that, everything went to decline. Let me rewind, though. When they were going into Elimination Chamber, they weren't hitting great numbers. And they wanted Rock to come in and spice things up like he did before. And he did that. He did. Right. Rock and his writing team came up with an idea, and it was Final Boss. And I was reading something. Final Boss and the whole soul taking thing, right? Well, whatever anybody thinks of that is irrelevant to the fact that he had to come in. They called him. He didn't bum rush his way in. Rock's got other shit that he's doing in life, other ventures that he's handling. They hit the break glass in case of emergency, and they pulled Rock out and said, fix this. He came in, spiced things up, fixed it, added some strangeness to it. From there, WWE Creative was supposed to also build from there. It's not The Rock's job to now hold everyone's hand from here on out until you cross the finish line. You have to build from there. Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, Stephanie McMahon's husband, Vince McMahon's son-in-law. You got to do your damn job. But instead, what we have is a situation where Rock is being blamed because he did not, quote unquote, come through every other episode of Raw and SmackDown to make sure a storyline was getting fed up and through WrestleMania.
Full-time wrestler.
Full-time wrestler.
Come on, man.
Right. And then you have, for example, John Cena, and I'll get to the second clip in a moment. John Cena saying after he won the championship, taking it from Cody, which probably wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know. But he took the championship from Cody, and he gives this speech about past wrestlers having the championship. Rock's name wasn't uttered once. He's one of the most, he's arguably, it's only 3 incredibly popular professional wrestlers of all time. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hogan, and The Rock.
Facts.
Period. John Cena has become somewhere in that atmosphere, but as in no question, these 3 gentlemen could pretty much go anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
Hogan, maybe not so much anymore. Maybe he still does this thing, but I'll still include Hogan. They can go anywhere on the effing planet. Maybe even Undertaker is probably maybe the only 4th guy, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere on the planet, and they're gonna get mauled by fans that aren't just wrestling fans because they pierce through that veil of, just being a wrestling nerd, right? So you have them ignoring Rock and promos. That can only be because of a guy named Paul Levesque, Triple H, behind the scenes saying, don't mention Rock. There's this Cold War beef going on because they're pissed off at The Rock because Rock is probably like, look, there's some ideas that I fucking had that y'all didn't want to roll with. So I'm gonna just leave it to y'all. Y'all called me here to do something, and now y'all twisting this and that, and y'all don't want to do what I want to do.
And then you got your influencers all out here. Everybody trying to blame me. Like, come on, man.
Yep.
Bro.
Do you have anything to say before we go on to the next clip?
We see the hand, bro. That's all I got to say. Go ahead.
Facts.
We see the hand.
Mm-hmm. Here goes the next clip for further context.
To them, and them meaning Triple H and Nick and Ari as well. And I lay this out and I say, hey, here's how I really feel it should go. We can insert Final Boss in the end of this finish, but then where do we go? There's other commitments that I have, and I want to also be careful that we're not overstepping and leading over our skis too much here. Can get involved in the finish, and I said, but why get involved in that finish when the spotlight should just be on, in my opinion, John 17 heel champion? What does 2025 look like if this man is saying he's going to ruin professional wrestling? That to me is the anchoring storyline. It's not Soul right now. Right now it's not. But by the way, we'll go back to it. We'll
still got it. Yeah. Still
we'll go back to Soul. Look, I can't take the text that I got and from the guys that I got, who are these top guys who are saying, one in particular who I love is my guy. I call him the Superman of the company. He's like, listen, my soul's for sale when it's time. And I said, I love it. Let's do it. So look, I love Travis Scott involved, and I'll tell you why.
And he talking about my man Drew McIntyre. I know he is. That's my guy, bro. That's my guy. Yo, shout out to Drew McIntyre. Way better than Joe Hendry. Anyway, fucking Joe Hendry. Anyway, but yeah, man. What are your thoughts on that clip?
Nah, I just think that when you see stuff like that, it makes it even more clear to me the use of like these bots and influencers and stuff, man. Because it's like, yo, he's absolutely right. First of all, like, why would I have to hold your hand? That's not he just explained how, hey, I can't be here to hold you guys' hand. Like, we can do this right at the end, but like, hey, I got other stuff going on. I'm in movies, bro. I'm shooting commercials. I'm The Rock, bro. I can't just, be in all these shows and be involved with all this lead up. And yet he's the one being blamed when he probably made that clear from the very beginning. So that would have me ask, well, who is it that, has, or who has that creative control, right? Wouldn't you say that Paul Levesque, Triple H, got that kind of control?
The game. Yeah, it's him.
Crazy. Yeah, I even saw this Instagram post earlier, and I was trying to find it once again, but it was just on my feed, and it literally was breaking down how it's crazy how Triple H is probably behind all this, because like he's the one that's there full time, and he's going on all these podcasts and stuff right now, trying to make it seem like he's extra. Like,
I'm so glad you said that.
I'm so accessible, and it's like, bro, that's why the Rock is having to look, because I saw some people saying, oh, I don't know why he even went on Pat McAfee. He's doing this because there's a counter narrative being put out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's this narrative that, hey, this is all his fault, and it's kind of being perpetrated by Triple H. And this is just the same thing that we was watching happen over at WBD. And it's the same thing that we're seeing play out in just all these different avenues. This is what these civil wars be looking like, bro.
I'm glad you mentioned the Triple H and the interviews and stuff, the podcast stuff. Triple H was crashing out during WrestleMania weekend, bro. It was kind of insane to watch. He was trashing fans. He was trashing journalists. He was trashing everybody and their mom, bro. Like, I don't know what was his issue. He seemed angry for some reason at everybody and everything that would come against like what he's trying to do. And now that we see what's happening, he probably was pissed off at The Rock.
Yeah.
He was probably angry at The Rock and his team because The Rock and his team were like, look, man, I don't know what y'all expect me to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to add my part and I was trying to do my thing. And yeah, I wanted control. Because when I had control, shit was popping. You know what I'm saying? Like when they were leading up to Cody taking the belt, it was supposed to be I think it was they were gonna do Roman Reigns versus The Rock. They were leaning heavily on that, and Cody's fans took over, and Rock was like, "We're gonna pivot because Rock does good business." Rock was like, "Nah, we're gonna pivot to this Cody thing and let Cody take the belt and complete his story, or whatever." Because they were gonna try to get Rock in there, and then they were gonna try to have Cody win it down the line after that. But fans were like, hell no, we want to see him winning at WrestleMania. And it became a big thing. It was good stuff, good TV considering WWE. And I'm a very harsh critic of WWE because I think a lot of their product is very juvenile and watered down. But when Rock and them were doing their thing, it didn't feel that way. It felt like they were doing something that was pretty must see. Fast forward to everything that was happening whenever he came through, whether it was even weird stuff like I'll take your soul. Weird, but he was trying to do something, right? Like it or not. They asked him to come through and he tried something. And then after that, it was like, all right, y'all come up with creative. Since you won't let me fully do my thing, I need y'all to come up with creative and I'll try to come back. If not, then F off. Like, I'm not going to be standing around twiddling my thumbs. I'm The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got other shit to do. And so Paul Levesque, if you see his booking style, I'm not gonna even go there, but I'll just say it's weak. It's weak at best. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. And he has a big problem booking women. And I'm not, y'all know I ain't that guy with the woke shit. Y'all know this. So when I say this, y'all know it's genuine. Okay, hopefully. I ain't with that woke shit. Y'all know this. He books women weird, and he books anybody that's seemingly looking like us weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just does, man. He left people off that WrestleMania card that can not only wrestle, but people that they want to see on the cards, right? He left them off, and they just so happen to look like, you know, brothers that look like us. Anyway, there was like one more thing I wanted to say, but what are your thoughts so far?
Look, I think that what we're looking at right now is like a lot of parallels between everything that we've been seeing, bro, with all of these executives when it comes to these like civil wars or battle for power or what have you. And I think that with 2025 being the year of these things kind of just being amplified, I think we're seeing it, bro, like happen like in real time for the first time ever, bro. I don't remember a time where we ever could be just getting these types of things happening. Like two guys like Triple H and The Rock going back and forth doing podcasts, having the, you know, pretty much fight for the narrative. And also having that happen with him and James Gunn and them, right? Because they look, how odd is it that James Gunn is announced as the incoming co-head of DC Studios, and Black Adam is in theaters? He says nothing about it, bro, the entire time that it was in theaters while he was there. You think that was an accident, right? Just like this. Look, he was just saying how, hey, they didn't mention The Rock during them talking about all those past champions, right?
At all, and, bro. Not only that,
weird.
But Triple H went out there on the mic a couple of times and didn't say a word about Rock. He named a bunch of guys and didn't name Rock. You know what I mean? Like, and you just made me think of something else. Cody Rhodes took a shot at James Gunn and John Cena in one of his promos. Cody Rhodes is a Rock guy.
Yeah, crazy, right?
He said John Cena over there in Hollywood kissing James Gunn's ass. He literally said that. This is what I was going to say a little bit ago. Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock, have been beefing since the 90s. And I don't mean like on screen in tights, in draws, wrestling each other to the 1, 2, 3.
No, in real life.
In reality, like, okay, so allegedly, for example, Shawn Michaels allegedly said something disrespectful to one of the Rock's family members, and that's why Rock never wanted to work with him one-on-one. Like, we think about this, we never saw Shawn Michaels versus The Rock one-on-one match ever. That would be one of the greatest box office draws ever. Never saw it because for years Rock wasn't cool with whatever Shawn Michaels said. Shawn Michaels is the best friend of Triple H for many years. Everybody knows this. That's in the wrestling world. Allegedly, Triple H and Shawn Michaels used to kind of bully and fuck with Rock. I mean, all wrestlers do that shit, but they used to take it to extremes, allegedly, right? And Triple H used to be a guy that would be in the back trying to snitch on people and talk a little noise for guys that he would say that he would see rising above him, right, on the card. So Triple H has always been a bit of a thorn in real life in the Rock side, and it just translated, to when they lace up the boots. You know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe this beef, if they're smart, they can turn this Cold War that we're kind of surmising here into something of a WrestleMania match. You know what I'm saying? Like older Triple H versus older Rock. Who knows? But for right now, man, this shit looks eerily reminiscent to the same thing that keeps happening with The Rock. They give him a franchise, he makes something out of it, and then somebody with other plans comes behind the scenes and tries to stab him in the back, and now he becomes a scapegoat.
Crazy. All right. Said Dwayne talks about it in his book. Yeah, man. Nah, we giving y'all that real talk over here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We had the whole breakdown. We went full circle. We didn't went straight from Sinners to Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi to The Rock. You know what I'm saying? And it all made sense. That's crazy, though.
Right?
Right? Y'all see that, right?
Crazy.
Y'all see that. The through line. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
that Matrix code being decoded.
We are about to shut this thing on down, though, man. Yo, just before we get on out of here, man, like, what's your final thoughts on all these topics, though, bro? Because this was a hell of a stream.
Yeah, I appreciate the heck out of this stream and being a part of it, bro. So shout out to you, shout out to the chat, and shout out to everybody involved that's gonna watch on replay crew. These topics, like you said, it's very eerie how a lot of these topics, they don't even necessarily have to literally connect, but they almost feel like they do, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a virus that's attacking, entertainment. And that is what connects it all. You got propaganda ripping through Sinners, and it did nothing to harm it.
Crazy.
Right?
Less than 10% drop, dog. That's insane, bro.
Crazy.
That's
got
insane.
Propaganda against two executives in a studio that is flailing, but two executives that keep having banger after banger with some misses in between, like every freaking studio in existence, by the way, including Disney. Hello.
Yeah.
Is this thing on? Like what are we doing? Right? A virus of propaganda going through them.
Look at Kevin Feige recently.
Huh, man. The great Kevin Feige. L after L after L after L. Does he deserve to lose his job? Like, what are we doing? Propaganda, right? Did nothing to them. Sinners is a hit. Dune was a hit. Barbie was a hit. Shout out to Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi.
Minecraft.
Minecraft, for God's sake.
Now, bro. Both two movies in theaters at the same time.
Remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
Crazy. We talked about that. I didn't mention on the stream, but we talked about how the studio model used to be you give out as many hits as possible at the same time, but for different genres, so that you're just having the audience attack the theater. You got the audience going to a Warner Brothers horror film. You got the audience going to a Warner Brothers kids movie. You got the audience going to a whatever independent film or
it's a lot of shit in theaters, bro. I'm going to go see Star Wars tonight, and I'm going to go see The Accountant tomorrow.
Word, man.
Thanks, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, man, like that's pretty much. And then going to WWE and The Rock. propaganda.
Propaganda, dog.
That came from, in my opinion, the whole Black Adam situation. Didn't come from it, but it was eerily reminiscent of it. I should
Eerily
say.
reminiscent.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. It was like the same thing. It's like, bro, like, hold up, man. This guy ain't even a full timer, and y'all blaming somebody that's part time.
Crazy.
Think about this. Think about you saying your company failed because a part timer didn't do something right. That's crazy.
Right. Isn't
That's
that more
crazy,
so?
bro. That's crazy, dog.
Isn't that more so a failure on the people that are there full time who have
Exactly,
creative
bro.
control, aka
Like,
Paul Levesque, Triple H?
Bruh, can't nobody part time hire anybody, bro. Right? Like, what are we talking about, dude?
The full time employee that's supposed to like stock the shelves is blaming the
Crazy,
guy
bro.
who comes in every Thursday. If that,
right? 2 day a week, motherfucker. Come on, man.
He only comes Thursday from 8 to 2.
You know,
it's his fault.
And we just need more help during that time. And he don't be doing it. Like, what the? Come on, bro.
Shit, funny as hell, bro.
Anyway, man. Yeah, bro. Look, I appreciate you pulling up for the stream, bro. I appreciate you having a conversation with me. And also, shouts out to everybody out there that rocked out during the live chat. Hearing everybody that's gonna be partaking in the replay crew. Shouts out to all y'all, man. Yo, this was a fantastic stream. Y'all be sure to stay tuned to the platforms, man, because we got a lot of stuff coming. Anything that you want to talk about before we get on out of here, though, bro?
Nah, man. I mean, shout out to the chat adding context to the conversation to Mama Bear. She was adding context to the conversation to Sinners, Austin. Shout out to everybody hanging in there with us. Oh yeah, hanging in there with us because these topics are crazy, fun, and also like weirdly connected. It was just cool, dope stream, unexpectedly dope, just like Sinners.
Facts.
Check it out.
Yep. And on that note, we're gonna get at y'all next time. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Bang.